Hello, everybody. Um, the shift, a lot of things have changed, a lot of things happened. The beginning when the shift was good, now the shift is telling you that there is the work that needs to be done. And today it was the energy that wasn't pretty good for a lot of us, simply because we wanted to quit out of this shift. We wanted to get off of that shift. We were tiring of this shift. And the more that we're going on in the journey as a twin flames, we keep on going. Something drive us, something move us, something keep telling us it's okay. You can be able to handle to it. You can be able to evolve more and more. Even when you feel like the time it's to quit, you want to be get off of this train of shifting all the time and evolving all the time, because you evolve and there is more new and new, and you feel like there is this non-stop cycle coming up. I'm making this video simply because that video is the right time for this video. This is the video about I'll be talking about the mirroring neurons, what they are, what's going on with us as a twin flames. The doctors, the people that they did the research on it, they did a multi MRIs, brain scans, in order to look at those mirroring neurons, what's actually happening into it. The part is that they are missing is the reality part, the practical part that we as a twin flames have. Simply, we as a twin flames, we using that energy from these neurons, and I want to be trying to put it in this on a little video, simply so people can have at least educational basic informations about this. If the people wants to have um, more details information, they want to be more technicalities, or they want to be more of this techie persons, go ahead and search mirroring neurons, and there is some books, there is some PowerPoint presentations, there is uh, a lot of free information out there on it, and you will be able to read it yourself. But we're talking about what I'm going to be talking about today. It is about twin flames and the mirroring neurons and what it is affecting us. So the video is going to be twin flames and the mirroring neurons. So it's about that. But what happening is it's a part of this. I mean, it's something's going on with us. We're working on vibrations. We understand the vibrations. We're predicting the feelings of our twin. Our twin feel us, the reciprocating way. And this magic, it's kind of like it hasn't been explained out there. Why did that happen? What's causing it? We always use the work of the soul, the deep inside part out of the soul, and we're using these vibrations out of through a soul level to understand what's going on, to be able to do it. And first of all, it's important to understand that what are we talking about here? What the neuron is? What's that part of neuron is on it? And the neuron, that's what that is. It's right here. And this is a cell that it's actually working with electricity, with the small amount of electricity, with the chemistry it's got it inside, and collects a lot of memory. But at the same time, it's firing between each cell and open up a lot of things, a lot of informations, educations, and a lot more things behind the background. But what happening with specifically with those mirroring neurons. What's happening in their firing, you will see it at the end of the presentation. They're firing for a very specific purpose, and that's what was defined about it. So when we're talking more about mirroring, is why this is happening between the twin flames. What is that part of the twin flames? I will read you this. It comes in from PowerPoint presentation. When we watch others doing or feeling something, neurons fire in a patterns that would fire if you were doing the action or having feeling ourselves. This is the part when you begin to feel your twin deep inside of you, simply because the vibrations that are inside of it, they're in the same wavelength, they're in the same vibrations, they're in the same matching vibration, and this is the time when the two brains actually operate the same. These neurons are referred to as the mirror neurons, and they are fired only to reflect the actions or feeling of others. I will read you more about those neurons and what they do. And then I'm gonna be reading a little bit more. I had a great help of one of the twin flames, and her name is Mila Knie Rookwood. I think that's how I pronounce her name. It's some kind of hard for me. But if you have misspelled your name, I'm sorry. But I hope you forgive me about this. Let's the beginning of the papers up here. What is going on? Why the mirroring is important? The mirroring neurons are firing and helps to imitate what they are seeing. Mirroring neurons are important for understanding the actions and intentions of other people and for learning new skills by imitation. It's not by imitation. You're actually copying the program from the one person. You actually transfer it inside of you. And this is how you learn. You to have the new way of relationship through this mirroring effects that we know on it. What do you mirroring neurons allow us to do? Mirroring is believed to be the way in which the brain automatically interprets actions, intentions, and emotions of other people. Mirroring neurons, the cell in the brain that activate when we perform a particular action or which someone else perform that same action. We are up to until receive only in theory. The lot of things that's happening with these guys that don't get it is about that when the neurons fire inside of the body, you begin to have the same length with another person, with your twin flame. Specifically when in a very close proximity, it is about the same vibration. And that vibration is felt throughout the other people, simply because we are the senders out, they are the receivers. So we're sending these signals as the twin flames between each other, but the others receiving the same information. And this is what happens is when the other people, they understand there's something's going on between you two, but they're not capable of understanding simply because their brains do not fire on the same length as you in your twin flame. And what they do, these neurons, they actually help you to fire the muscles, and they controls the muscles and glands within the body. But through those neurons, they're also pulsing on a different frequency, and that is the frequency that we know as vibrations within the body. When we talk, most of the twin flames, when they talk, specifically we're going to read it later on, it's called as inner work. The neurons cause we to go ahead and focus on the inner self into it. But also those vibrations, when they are out, we expressing our feelings with those vibrations. And this is why it's very important that you will understand down to later on. I will talk about it. Those neurons can, using in the proper way, they help you to evolve. They help you to move on, but not using on the wrong way. During the studies, they found that can cause a lot of psychology damage to the person who using it, and can call it to Alzheimer or schizophrenia or all those mental issues that can get you into a mental hospital. And the practice about the twin flame, that is the part when some of the twin flames are being told that they make it up, that doesn't exist. That is not the right way. And what's happening is they don't understand that there is a twin flames who actually rejecting this part. They're rejecting the gift. They don't want this gift. They don't want this part of life. They don't want to be what they're meant to be. They don't want it to evolve. And this is the time when those neurons, they begin to not be used for the purpose they are awakened for it. And this is why the people who has these parts, they suffer a lot. So what else those neurons does? The mirroring touch synesthesia is a condition which is cause individuals to experience the same sensation, such as touch, as another person feels. A lot of the twin flames experience that. They feel the other's body, and this is freaking them out. Freaking them out simply because this is one of the parties understood long time ago, which says one soul that exists within the two body. This is the same vibrations we're talking about within the two people that exist within the two body. And this is the part that is freaking everybody out. And when there is no knowledge, there is no information about it, that part, it's scary on the beginning. How come she's like me, or how come he is like me? And this is the part when the wrong part of this misunderstanding is we're trying to control the other person using the mirroring neurons. Simply we're trying to project something into them, which is the wrong idea for them. And that's why we have to learn to do the job ourselves. We to be able to go ahead and be what the neurons comes into be. The more you evolve with those neurons, the stronger the connection comes in. And over the time, you're firing more and more of those neurons. They get in awaken every other shift that we experience it. And it's the funny part that we experience in this shift when we aligned ourselves as the energy that comes in from the solar system and outside. And for some reason we resonate with that. And through those neurons we are able to understand this part. Before that part of the beginning of the firing of the neurons, we don't have this part. And what is the firing of the neurons actually into the twin flames? How that looks like into the part, the way the twin flame sees it. They see it as the God's light. From the one twin flame comes to the other, simply because they're firing first on the one person, and then that person, when they look at you in your eyes or look at you somehow and you see them somehow, you see the light. The light can be out of the eyes, the light can be around them, the round comes in as a huge white ring come from them to you, and that is showing you the soul. The part that the most of the twin says, it's like I see the light, that it's too many sparkles. It just comes into it, and this is the part when the one twin gives to the other, is this firing, because simply is got the same sequence, the same vibrations, and that is the where the very rare part between twin flames is that they possess the same vibration as a biology energy within the brain. And when that's happened, the two brains get connected into it, and this is how this firing mutually neurons. Right now, they're working through the mirroring. They are actually copying the one person to the other, and those two persons becomes one. And when they become one, this is the part when you usually keep this part simply to yourself. Now there is no more you by yourself. There is another person hooked up into your own personality inside of you, deep inside of you, that you cannot unplug. And a lot of the runners getting mad, they getting angry, they getting pissed off, simply because they cannot process anymore, and they take what's called the high road. They become to lie, they become to deny the connection, they begin to do all the nasty stuff they can come up with on it. I see some people, they doing restriction orders, and guess what? They cannot take it out from this connection, and this connection, it needs to be fixed. It needs to be resolved, and the one person can live all their lives wasting their lives simply because they're resisting the changes that these neurons do to them. They're resisting evolution. Compared to the other person, seeks that evolution, it's evolved, and what's happening with that person can be evolved on a lot of levels. That person can become an empath. It can become different learnings. It can become a healer. It becomes a very multifunctional person who actually is able of capabilities to do things far beyond it's ever been possible, imaginable. And this is the part that we are calling the God part of the miracle through those neurons. What do they look like though when are they firing? Here how they look. This is the God light within. When you see it, that's what actually happens inside, and because it's so strong, it's so powerful during the awakening, those mirroring neurons, they're put you like in a state of fire, and that's why we calling twin flame. It's twin flame. This is the fire that ignites everything between those two people. And the studies are okay. The studies are done great of the medical side. What happening is that we are failing to see the other side, the practical side, simply because when those neurons fire, they create a lot of tensions, and those tensions between the two individuals not working anymore in the old way, working in the new way. That's the part of too much conflict in creation, simply because there is no information. They explain it to you what really happened, what really is going on between the two twin flames. So I will read something up here. But if you take a look, this is how the neurons are firing between each other. This is simply looks like the galaxy it's out there, and this is how you feel the universe. This is the part of the universe inside of you. This is the vibrations, how the universe worked. And thanks again to Melanie Rookwood. she was able to actually to take the medical informations for the twin flames and to put it into an order of to be more understandable what's going on. So I'm gonna be reading what she said. This was deep. I know it's crawling down to moral the story below. Mirror touch. Synthesia. We can feel similar sensation. If you touch my face, someone else will feel the same sensation. Emotional contagion. Wow. Twin Flemish, for sure. One person emotions and behaviors directly trigger similar emotions. I mean, this is mirroring as well. So we have an effect. And if we practice self-love, it will mirror trigger the rise of vibrations as well. Number 3, the intention part is interesting. Essentially, neurons fire when they are active intentions. Not just limited touch of the cup and a move, but actual active intention when the neurons are fired. So the lesson here could be intentional on your action with the purpose to get an equal and opposite reaction. Also, there is some indication of telepathy, of predictive ability. Neurons fire before that the monkey even observed to the action in the human. Where this monkey part comes in is that the study that was done back into the monkeys. It wasn't done to the human behavior simply because that was evolved from our scanners. But the behavior that we have as the twin flames, we already learned that part. We're actually doing to it. With learned behavior, for more frequent synaptic connection, is connection structure becomes over words, you develop habits. You can change learned behavior. The more you practice self-love, the more of the water will walk in the same love and break all paradigms for the new one. This is the evolution that we talk about. This is the part that we evolve. We change the language, we change the perceptions, the understanding, and this is the shift that keeps occurring and occurring and occurring. And the more we are going in, the more we don't understand how much we still don't know. Simply because the brain actually has much more as information to can handle than the Library of the Congress. There is essentially saying empathic people are more likely to participate in intention mirroring, so more likely to be a twin flame of model behaviors of others. The mirroring system is linked to apathy. Wow. It's not a passively active by observed action, but influenced by the mind. The mind is powerful thing two ways. So there is, if you think, if the power of intention, you can activate the mirror system. You can change it, have it. Art of attraction with your thoughts more than actions. The law of attraction? The watching someone else but influenced by your own thoughts. Self-awareness of awakening. When this system is active, it not only simulates other behaviors but it can be focused inward. That's what we're talking about, the inner work. To create representation of your own earlier brain process. So you basically, what's going to look at it is that you compare your earlier thoughts. You understand that they don't serve your purpose of where you're going. They don't serve you the position. So you can come back into look at it. But also through that come back, as it's stated there, you can become introspective and become self-aware of the old situation. But throughout this, you can go back into your younger state. As has been explained into the Bible somehow, for some way, to some of the stories, God renew a person and make him younger, simply because he performed the miracle of serving others. And this is that part also at the same time is represented. Language. Rate of vocabulary explanation linked to ability of children to vocabulary mirror actions, not words. what they see. In other words, they can speak or say what they see. Vocal imitation happens without fully comprehending the action they are vocally mirroring. Be careful around what you do around your kids. They are very intuitive and pick up on you without fully understanding it. Again, there is evidence of telepathy passing between two people doing sign language. Their mirror neurons fire based on a gesture and not words. Telepathy. Here's how the telepathy works within the twin flames. And I experienced that. But cannot be confirmed simply because the twin that runs doesn't want to come out in public, even though that will benefit 1,000 people. But it is what it is. It is a dream in the morning. It's a dream that tells you, hey, she's gonna be having a green shirt with the gray sweater. So I'm wearing a blue shirt with the gray sweater. So she knew that I'm gonna be wearing that. I knew what she's going to wear. So that was the telepathy that worked. So we saw each other during the work, and when your twin flame stares and you're freaking out when she see that information that you sent in the morning before you go to work. At work, what happens? She got afraid. She got scared from everything. She didn't want to do things about it. Plus, we're not talking about that part, but influence with people who doesn't understand this part, they better shut up. Because this thing, it's much more powerful. It can damage people for a long period of time. The mirroring, it's not based on sensory or actual sound. It is based on action. So here is, you need to look at it, your actions, what do you do with it? Simply because your action will actually explain what you do. People who hide, who lie, who cheat, who suffer, they choose the dark side of that part. People who are staying on their truth and they want to be, they stay in the light side. Here is the separation part on it, that the action speak louder than words. And by you doing the right action, you're doing the right thing. Automatic imitation of another behavior, it's linked to the mirror neuron system of observing learning actions and behaviors. This is the part of the mirroring when you become your twin. That part right there, it's when the masculine or the male becomes more feminine. And this is the part when everybody will be aggravated. What's going on? Why I'm changing to a female? I've been male all the time. The mirroring neurons, they fire simply because you have to understand the other side. You can't be united with something that you don't understand. And that's why that transformation during the exchanges with you, when you actually gain the opposite force of what you are. Sometimes there is a females with a male energy inside of them. When they meet the twin, they get the feminine part, and this creates a lot of problems within into the female. The other side, that's a women's feminine. They've been a lot of feminine. All of a sudden, they get this masculine energies inside of them, and they become cold, rude. They go to the cave as a man do. They can reject you as a man. They're not gonna care about you as like a man's do, and they will change their behavior simply because they're learning that part. Zealot. And that is a part of behaviors that it must be understood. But it's within the twin flames. What's going on with that mirroring effect is that when we go throughout the community, we actually helping others throughout this using of this mirroring system to help others to fill the gaps or fill the stuck part where they are. And that's the part that we make in some events. So the gathering of the twin flames is actually helping out this mirroring part to be helping others to move on, to get unstuck of what they are, to get into the place what they are. And this is why we're making those events. If you're watching this video, we have an event that it's on October 6th this year. It's in about within 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, and it's going to be in Boston. If you want it, you can go ahead and contact me on Facebook. You can private message me. I will send you the link. And if you want to register yourself, you want to come and see us and talk to us. We are a real person. We are not just a superhuman or something that you can't even talk. You can come, you can see us, and you can ask us the questions. And we can be able out there to help you out of it. I'm going to be there with Donna Fisher, Marla Kelly, and Nagla El-Shami. And we're going to be there. And there's going to be some more people that comes in. And some of the people who are already on the Chicago event, they're actually coming into the Boston event. But more to go on with the videos about the neurons. Okay, here it's what the information is. I'm going to read this to you. The core component of the nervous system in general and the brain in particular is the neuron or nerve cell, the brain cell of the popular language. A neuron is an electrically excitable cell that process and transmit information by electrochemical signaling. Unlike other cells, neurons never divide, union, and neither do they die off by replacing by new ones. By the same token, they usually cannot be replaced after being lost, although there are few exceptions. The average human brain has about 100 billion neurons or nerve cells, and the mainly more neurologia or glial cells, which serve to support and protect the neurons. Although, sees at the end of the page more information on those cells. Each neuron may be connected up to 10,000 other neurons, passing signals to each other via as many as 1 trillion synaptic connections, equal by some estimate to a computer with a 1 trillion bit per second processor. Estimated of the human brain's memory capacity vary widely from 1 to 1,000 terabytes. For comparison, 19 million volumes of the US Library of Congress represents about 10 terabytes. So you imagine that the brain, it holds 1,000 terabytes. So the data that it's actually inside of you, it's huge. And the mirroring effect, when this occurs, when the firing of those neurons, you become awakened. You become this new evolved person. And this is why the people like whatever happened to me as an awakened twin flame is the part of you getting a new knowledge. You become a new person. You become an evolved. And the more the time goes on, we're accessing our information that is being coded within the brain. And we cannot access this information until we are not involved to understand this information. And this is why the mirroring neurons, when they're firing, they open up this knowledge for us. And we begin to provide this knowledge to others. And this is why that when this firing happens between two people, you need to be understood that there is something much more going on behind the background. It's not just simply two people who feel each other and they feeling so much in love. Now there is much more behind that. They have something to do, and that is a part that a lot of the twin flames they goes in and they're looking at their purpose. What is their mission? What do they need to do? Well, their mission is to evolve, to open up more and more of this stored information that is inside of them. This is the part that, in the Bible was described. It's like, if you need some information, I will tell you. But don't go to the tree of knowledge and learn it from there. The tree of knowledge is actually the knowledge that we have as a 3D. And let me explain you what that means as a 3D. That is the knowledge that the parent forcing over to the child. It's the programming part. That is the part that when you go to school, you're learning all this unnecessary stuff that you basically never use in life. You're basically using time and space and effort instead of learning the person what they actually feel like they're going to need. They learn something that is completely useless for them. And this is the part that we actually filling the brain with knowledge that basically it's useless. Okay? So tomorrow and to goes on to it is like when those neurons are firing inside of us, we understand more. We become something else. We become a new personality. We become a reborn person. So this is the final part that comes into it. Why do the twin flames they looking for each other? Why do they want to be together for each other? What is that part that puts them together? Simply because when they're together, they're firing more and more of those new neurons between them. And this is how the love gets stronger and stronger and stronger. But separated, they suffer. They're not complete. And this is the part I'm trying to help a lot of the twin flames is to understand that you have to give it a time and space for the other individual to understand, listen, there's something special about us. Okay? We need to talk. We need to have this communication. The silence inside of it, it's very bad because it's a silence inside of the one individual, but it also creates the silence of the other. In that firing of those neurons, it helps them to solve the problems. And that's why they keep meeting each other, they keep seeing each other in dreams, they keep telepathic connections into this part. They keep seeing how beautiful it can be, simply because the information is in the neurons, the mirroring neurons provides that information. But how this is going to happen, that is a completely different part. That is the effect of understanding what you are now as a human, and you understanding of what you become and what you need to do, how to create a new program of the way you are as a twin flame. So, since the code and the action of the agent patient, that is the one of the achievements of a partial universality. You become like a more universal. You can basically fit in any place. You can go ahead and do any job. You can go ahead and help a lot of more things. You become like a universal soldier, basically. Constantly you can do things. You can focus on what you want to do. You can have a partial role structure. Partial, that is you just help, and that's it. But if you take a look at it, the purpose, okay, the mirror neurons fire only for purposeful action. And this is the part of what we talk about. It's the destiny part. There is something inside of the brain, like a code, like a specific password that actually creates that purposeful action onto. And this is the part when the twin flames actually they go ahead and uh, they look at that purpose of what they need to fulfill. And what they need to fulfill is to be their truth and release that truth out and open so the others can live in the same way. The others can understand and evolve the same way. So we can stop with the part of the false part of the marriage. Because the marriage that it's created, the three-dimensional marriage that it's actually created, has nothing to do of what we really are. This marriage between those two people, they united within a soul, they united within that chemistry inside those mirroring neurons fired. It has no comparison to anything that, I mean, even the biggest love letter out there cannot explain that love between each other, simply because it's opened up the new world. It's opened up the God-given God gift of love that exists. I mean, personally, me, the way I express it, that was the part of only God can love you more than I do. You can't express it. There is no really explanations about this. And to finish it with this part is that people they think the twin flames out there, it's a bogus, it is something that doesn't exist, something that is not useful. I can tell you what the twin flame is most useful. That is the people who are stuck into the mirroring, and you stepping up to another person who is stuck in the mirroring and have a problems. You to go ahead and help them out. You to give them a little missing part so they can fire more mirroring inside of them, simply to give up and go on their journey, simply because their twin flame is not there. And that is the worst part, that the society tries to interfere between those two without properly understanding of what's going on. Because a lot of the twin flames, their connection happens to work. There's a guy who connected to me, is like, Dio, I know that whatever happened to you actually happens to me at work, but you went out to report me to the HR. I would suggest you, if you're that person, and if something happened to the HR, give them a video of mine, or give them this video, or have them talk to me. And I will try to explain it to them, the situation of happens. Simply because this part, you can't control it. This part is out of any control. The two twin flames, they cannot control this. The worst part that's going on between the two twin flames is when they try to using the gift of the connections to control the other person. And this part is huge time, no. You cannot really do this part. And that's why a lot of the twin flames, they're getting separate. There is this tensions inside. Instead of they getting more together and figure that out what's going on. Figure out that they have the same length, same wave, and they are actually born to evolve together. This is the part of the real marriage. Not the marriage that the three-dimensional part says you gotta have family, you're making kids. Hey, you have a house, and guess what? Life goes on. You happy? Most of the people who are in a marriage, they're not happy. What it's missing is that part of the completion, part of that completion circle that it is, simply because you want the other side to understand you, the other side to appreciate you, the other side to love you, the other side to do things for you the same way you're reciprocating to the same side. Deep inside of you as a normal human being, you know this. You seek this. Simply because if you are married, doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man, if you're still looking at out there, you're still flirting with other people, or you check them out, simply is because of that part inside of your brain and looking for the mirror, looking for that one person that you can fire up and you can evolve. And this is the message to everybody out there. Simply to understand that it's something else it's going on, something else as we evolve out there. And that part, when it strikes you, if that part is as you evolve, that part as you begin to feel this, please come down to peace and figure out the things with the person, but use your peace, because the peace in the one will sense the peace in the other. Otherwise, if you fighting to each other, you will create this mishmash story that basically will be very, very hard to fix. And this interference between the people, specifically within the twin flames, I hear a lot of stories, a lot of damage been done until they finally surrender to this connection. And they finally had to work, a lot of work, in order to heal. And this is why I make those videos out there, for the people to not suffer the way we do suffer. Because that's the way it is. You either become something or you just move on to it. Some of the twin flames, they decide that this is not the part they want. But want it or don't want it, you can't go back. The neurons are fired, you are awakened. And that part of telepathy, that part of knowledge inside of it, that part inside of that, they trying to reject it so bad. I seen those people mostly like they're gonna be end up in a mental hospital, and when you ask them what's wrong with them, they don't say what's wrong with them. They cannot say about this. They cannot say that they have dreams about their twin flame. They cannot say that they have a disconnection, because simply the world doesn't know, the world doesn't understand, the world doesn't even want to understand this. But there is a medical evidence that we finally getting to this problem. We finally are ready to understand and move on with this. And the bad part of this study that was done for the mirroring neurons, it leads to a lot of sicknesses, a lot of mental sicknesses, and those are Alzheimer, you lose your memory. It leads to schizophrenia and all the other related mental illnesses. And this is the part when the one twin shut off the lights. And that is the part of that shutting off the lights becomes very, very bad. It is explained in one of the twin flame movie, The Notebook. And he had to go ahead and, through reading the book, reminding her about what was the love between them. And that is one of the videos. I've seen some person who actually, I've been talking to a lot of people who actually realize that part. And they were actually went through psychiatrists, they went through a lot of things until they end up one of my videos and they're like, Dio, I didn't understood what it was wrong between me and that person. I want to thank you so much. It's been 27 years. And this 27 years actually is a long period of time. And as the more as we evolved as a twin flames, the more as you getting into the twin flames, now I understand that those electric impulses and everything, we can actually be able to do a lot of things. We can be able to use it and help some of these portions to be repaired. There is a lot of sicknesses within the people who have their neurons damaged. Let's say during a car accident or whatever the situation was, and there is some information that it's coming in from. If you watch the presentation more closely, we open up a new information, and the new information is actually what comes in how to repair this part, how to repair this body. And I will seek people to see if getting their inputs. I will look at it for a neurologist or neurologist surgeons. I want to give them an idea how we can repair this, simply because I repair machines with their electric impulses. Now, by me understanding this part, I can help these guys to develop something to help the humans. That's it's whole another story into this. But to end this video of it about the mirroring neurons, that is a huge explanation out to the humanity that we are not what we are known to it. We are not just bodies. We are not just hearts. We possess something else. We possess vibrations that are much more higher level of evolution to throughout the universe, and throughout this mirroring effect that going on, we were probably able to understand aliens, simply because we can be able to tap into them without any spoken language or without anything, simply because the vibrations are vibrations. They have their own language, they have their own length, and there is you can send it out and there is going to be a recipient, simply working like in a twin flames. Well, that's going to work out with this, that's going to be out in the future. But for right now, the whole part of this video, it is about to have an education. You to educate yourself. Simply because when you see two people who are actually copy to each other, simply if there is something happen to you with another person, you basically to be educated, so you know what to do. Instead of like me, who I had no education, I had nothing to go on, and I suffer a lot. And at some point, I feel like I want to get out of this journey. But I am what I am. I have to be here. I have to serve to you guys and help you on a daily basis. Love it. And it's just hard for me someday to get up here on the camera and talk and go on to it. But the part, it's all for the good purpose. It's all for humanity to understand that something out there it's going on, something out there evolves, and something out there wants to be what it is meant to be. It's called a destiny. Be love.